the whole week, man.
All right, go now.
Yay!
Hey.
And we are live.
We are, yes.
Welcome everybody to Drum Education Live podcast, episode number 9, I think.
I'm going to take your word for it, yeah.
Today we have the lovely Janine with us.
Hi everybody.
Hi, Janine.
Woohoo! Now we met on Instagram, and it's just a thrill to see you in person. It's really cool because we've been chatting, and you messaged me about just starting out drumming, and I think you were talking about struggling with, learning later on in life, and also I think you were doing doubles and 30-second notes, and you felt like, maybe I'm not getting anywhere, a bit exasperated maybe, and so I just wanted to hand it over to you and just see where you're at and if you've got any questions, and we're going to try and answer them. No pressure, guys.
I guess for me, the biggest question that I have is overcoming the plateau. You're really practicing and you're trying really hard and you're giving it everything you have, but you're hitting the wall. And it's like, what keeps you motivated and going to go past that, or, go around the corner? And that's where I'm struggling, because there are just days I throw my hands and my sticks in the air and I'm like, why am I doing this? This is crazy. So that's really where I'm at.
Welcome to our lives.
So I've been told.
Yeah.
I think I would say just the biggest question to ask yourself is why. Like, why are you doing, say, for example, doubles? What is the purpose there? What are you trying to gain? And I think also recording your progress is really, really helpful. And I think it can help you see the difference you've made in just like a week or a couple of weeks or even months. The fact that you can track what you've been doing, I think, is a really helpful tool, because otherwise you can just end up going around in circles and, I can't do this, so I'm going to do this. I can't do this, so I'm going to do this. And I think focused practice is your best friend. Right.
And I'm really trying to start really thinking about that focused practice, not just practice.
Yeah, let me just say something about focus practice. Sometimes we try to focus practice for 35 minutes. That will never happen if we don't train to do that. What we need to do is shorter time bursts, like even if it's only 5 minutes. Those 5 minutes you're really into what you're practicing.
Right.
The moment your mind wanders off, stop. And then take a little break, 1 minute, 2 minute break, and go back.
Very true.
Because then you're gonna be focused the whole time of the practice. Because if you just practice for half an hour, but only the first 5 minutes you're practicing, you're not gonna go anywhere. But if you stop after 5 minutes, give it a break, like 1 minute, 2 minutes most, and go back, you're gonna end up with 10 minutes of focused practice. And something very funny I've read, there's a book I love because I show it on everybody's face whenever I can. And the name of the book is Talent is Overrated. And, and it's a great book, I think. And there's a passage in the book where the guy he mentions a violin teacher from the 19th century, where the student asks the teacher, how can I improve? The same thing. I hit a wall. What can I do? And the teacher said, if you practice with your fingers, you're going to practice 10 hours a day. You're not going to accomplish anything. But if you practice with your mind, you're going to practice 1 hour, and that's going to be enough. And that's it. We need to put our brain to the practice as well.
Right.
Mark?
Okay. What are you plateauing on?
Well, quite honestly, I feel like right now I just feel like it's everything. I feel like in this moment, it's not fun because I'm not moving forward. So right now we're working on 30-second notes.
Yeah.
At a very slow tempo, and I'm still struggling at a slow tempo to get through the 30-second notes.
Okay, 30-second notes in singles, doubles, paradiddles?
Actually, and singles and doubles.
Okay,
We just started this week, very, very slowly.
right. So bear with me, I'm going to explain a couple of thoughts on this. So in addition to being a drummer, I'm a psychologist and a therapist. Now don't worry, you're not going to get a session, but I'm going to explain to you a little bit about how the brain processes.
Well, she's sad now. She thought she was going to get a session for free.
Now.
Yeah.
So
Why do you think I'm in this group?
It's fun.
the first thing is the frustration.
Mm-hmm.
The frustration's a form of stress. Stress stops you learning things, right? So if you find that you're constantly becoming frustrated with it and you stick with it more and more and more and more, actually you'll just stop. So sometimes the best thing to do is something else.
Right.
Or take a couple of days off.
Right.
It won't, I mean, I had an injury last year that meant I had 6 months off of playing. I couldn't play properly for a long, long time. And I thought I'd get back to the drums and I'd forgotten everything. Actually, for some reason, there were certain things that I hadn't been able to do for years that were just there. Because if you step back from it a little bit, you give your brain time to percolate. So your unconscious kind of movement brain needs time to take in what you're doing and figure it out. And that's very rarely mentioned. People will talk about practicing, but sometimes the best thing to do is just leave it for a bit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
When I get to the point where like I'm very, very, very frustrated and I'm really going nowhere, I really do stop and I say tomorrow's another day and tomorrow's a new day. And that's what I tend to do.
What I'm suggesting is just take 3 or 4 days off. Just
take a couple days.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was told this by Chuck Silverman. I don't know if do you remember Chuck Silverman? You heard of him, Kira? No, he died fairly recently. He was quite a famous sort of Latin teacher in the States. I think he taught at MI. Did he teach?
Yeah, but he started teaching after I left.
Okay. So he was the first guy to sort of explain this idea to me, and a guy called Pete Zeldman, who's an American, lives in London. And I remember talking to him about this and saying I can't get any faster, and he said just stop, put it away for a week, because you're not. It's like you're running into the wall all the time. Just put it away, and you're not giving your brain time to take it in. So I have more, but perhaps Kira wants to kind of add to that, maybe.
No, I think that what the guys are saying is absolutely right, and taking a break is often what I do, and just go and have a cup of tea or coffee, whatever, and then try again or try something else. And I always try and reconnect with why I started in the first place. So I'll go and just watch some YouTube clips of my favourite drummers, or I will just play to my favourite songs and just do drumming that will make me feel good. Stuff that I know will make me feel like, oh, this is why I'm doing it. And then you don't get bogged down with any stress and all this expectation, because, you know, it's important to just have a bit of patience and just have fun, like you were saying earlier.
Right.
Connect to why and just have fun with it, and then go back.
You know, when it's good, it's really good. But when it's bad, it's really bad. That's the problem.
And sometimes you're just going to make a fool of yourself.
Yeah.
And
Well, I'm okay with that.
I just did it now live for 200 people on Facebook, so that's all right.
I have one more question for you. So has anybody introduced you to the idea of singing what you're playing?
No.
So one of the things I'm quite adamant about with my students is them being able to sing what they're playing.
Okay.
So for example, I'll just show you really quickly on a pad here. And this will help once you sort of get your head around it. If you take a paradiddle, and you want to be able to improvise with paradiddles, so the only way I can do that is because I'm only thinking of the loud notes. So I'm just thinking da 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 da. So with a double stroke roll, for example, something you can do if you're doing it on a pad. I'm left-handed, by the way. So everyone leading that way. So I would just sing the leading hand, da 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 da
Okay.
da 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 da, and you'll find as fast as you can sing it, da 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 da. That's how fast you can play it.
Oh, okay.
So it's less to do with your hands, and it's more to do with the speed you're thinking.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Vocalize it, you'll find that your hands catch up.
Felipe, have you got any other tips, or Janine, did you wanna?
I already told everything I knew.
Yeah. So I don't know if that helps you, Janine, or if there's anything else that you wanted to touch on.
You know, it does. I kind of like the idea because it makes my brain focus on actually trying to do the exercise. It's almost like saying it out loud in a sense, except for you're singing it.
Yeah.
So.
I have a student in Germany who's been working on double pedal for years and years and years and years, and there's nothing wrong with his technique. He's just got nothing to say on it because he can't sing what he's trying to play.
Right. Okay.
He'd done the typical double pedal thing of getting trapped in the idea of getting faster and faster, and I've got to get to this speed.
Mm-hmm.
The reason he couldn't do it was because he couldn't hear it.
Couldn't hear it. Right.
As soon as
Okay.
he sang it, he could play it. So it's as close, in my opinion, to a magic fix as you're going to get.
I just feel bad about the idea of taking like a couple days off because then I'm like the guilt of like I should be practicing. That's the problem.
What do you think is going to happen?
Exactly. I know.
That's the thing, you know. Are you a professional player?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
See, that's why you still feel guilty when you don't play. If you worry, you go, oh, great, I'm not playing today.
Right. Right.
But the thing is, you know, if you feel guilty, it's because you're thinking it's an obligation.
Right. Right.
And if it's supposed to be fun,
Mm-hmm.
you should be missing, not feeling guilty.
And I think when my first year of taking lessons, I was more that way. Everything was about fun. I wasn't stressed. I didn't feel stressed when I was playing. And as I progressed on a little bit more and more, and got more serious about it, I think that's when it turned.
Okay. Are you in a band?
No. Mm-mm.
Would you like to be in a band?
Maybe someday, but for right now, I feel like I just have way too much to learn before I could even probably keep up with the rest of the band.
Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself.
That's funny. My teacher says that. He's like, I think it's time for you to get with the band. And I'm like, I don't know about that.
True. Let me tell you two extremes that happened to me that I think they illustrate very well, you know, why we should go into a band as soon as you can. I had this student that she was having lessons for 4 years, and she never thought she was ready to join a band. And then after 4 years, her husband finally convinced her, like, oh, my job, people play together every Saturday. Let's go there. Let's have fun. And then she went there, and everybody was friendly, but she had the expectation of, I've been having lessons for 4 years now. I know all this stuff. So I have to be good. And what is good, actually? And obviously, because she had never played with a band before, it wasn't great, to say the least.
Right.
And that was the last time she played drums. Because she thought, you know, I know all of this and I couldn't play with a band.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But on the flip side, I had a student that she had, I used to teach in a school here in London called Planet Drum. And once a month, there was a performance where the owner would bring a guitarist and students would play songs with this guitarist. And I had this student that she had her very first lesson on Thursday, and the performance was on Saturday, and she went to the performance. So I remember entering in the room and seeing her at the drum kit. I was like, what? You know? Mm-hmm. And then when she came for her second lesson, I said, well, you're a very brave woman. You know, you had one lesson and you went into the performance. And she said, the best answer I have ever heard, she said, well, sooner or later, I would have to do it anyway. And after one lesson, nobody would expect I could play the drums at all. So yeah, I went there, I could play one beat, and everybody was like, wow, cool. How long have you been learning drums.
Wow.
And she said, I had one lesson. And everybody,
That's a
wow,
great story.
amazing.
Mhm.
So
Don't think about it.
no, don't think about it. Just play. If you think about it,
Again,
you'll never do it.
But I think too, there's a little bit of a fear factor with that too. If you've never done it before, the thought of being, with the band and, playing is a little scary too.
But then
But-
once you do it, I feel like it's, I don't know, feel the fear and do it anyway. There's that
Right.
book. And I think something can seem so terrifying, and then you do it, and then you're like, oh, actually, I didn't need to be that afraid, because
Right.
everyone was really nice, and it was fun, and I was good, and I didn't mess up. Or even if you did mess up, you don't care, because you're buzzing from just making music with people. So, join a band with people who are nice, that, for your first band. That's what I would say. But
Right.
it will be scary the first time, and then you'll love it.
Yeah.
It's actually going to be scary the 2 minutes before the song starts actually
Right.
playing.
Mhm.
It never changes though, does it? I mean, like, well, I don't know, we talked about this before, but like, I still get a bit of stage fright now, and I've been playing for years.
Oh, same.
But I have a.
I'm a diva. I love the stage. That doesn't mean I'm any good. I just love being there.
Oh, that's great.
I have a couple of stories on that point. First of them, I joined a band the day after I bought my first drum kit, and I'd never had any lessons. I didn't know what the hell. I was awful. Whatever you do, the thing is, you won't ever be ready for it. There just
Right.
isn't the time, because coming out of the classroom, the thing that your teacher can't teach you is what it's like when the bass player doesn't listen to you, or what it's like when one of your microphones falls over, or you drop a stick. One of my old teachers said you get through gigs, and that's the best you'll ever do. That's it. You just kind of, stuff is going to go. I blew up a PA at a gig once.
Wow.
The first note, the whole thing went. It was in the Purple Turtle in London.
Oh,
The other thing I was going to say, talking about worrying about things, Kira played a clinic for my studio a while ago, and you've seen her play on Instagram. Yeah?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Really amazing drummer, right?
Uh-huh. Very.
You were so nervous beforehand, weren't you? And do you remember the
I was terrified. I was just like, oh my God.
so
Shaking.
we had a little talk beforehand about, I can't remember exactly what I said, but something along the lines of, just play what you play and don't worry about it. And it was amazing.
Oh,
Absolutely amazing.
well, that's the thing. I definitely suffer with nerves all the time. And so I was terrified of doing this clinic for Mark. And it was such a lovely experience, because I just chilled out and just played what I wanted to play and was just loving it. And it was just such a lovely experience to just let go and not worry and just think, well, I'm just going to do my best. And then that was it. And it was great.
Nobody believed me when I told them you were nervous beforehand. That's the thing. I said that. They were like, how? She's playing things in like 13. What was that song you played? One in 13, wasn't it? Or something ridiculous?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Playing linear stuff. I cannot play linear.
Well, I don't know. It's you know what it is? I have a quote right here.
Yeah.
There is no easy or difficult, only familiar and unfamiliar.
Mhm.
And I feel like, yeah, for me, doing a drum clinic, I'm not that familiar with it. So for me, that I found that difficult or scary. But then once you've done it, you're like, oh, hey, I can do this.
You could do it, yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
just being familiar with it, with these things. And yeah, I think the more you do something, the less scary it is, hopefully. No
You've got to
problem.
join a band now.
But I want to tell you, I have been asked to play. I really have at a little local restaurant right down the road. It's in no frills, super simple, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. Like nobody really goes there. So
Perfect.
you know,
So you've
I don't know.
got
It was a good place to start, though.
Definitely. Definitely. So I think we're gonna do some technical stuff, but unless there's any other questions, I don't know if anyone else.
No, someone did ask me if I would ask a question to you guys, and we sort of touched on a little bit about I think just about building the foot speed for doing a double on a base. They wanted to know how you build up like your feet for like speed.
That's Mark. So.
Mark.
Oh, okay. I'm going to move the camera down so you can see.
Okay.
The first, and watch Kira's face when I explain about heels down as well.
Oh, that's for speed, huh?
No, it's a running joke.
Oh.
So, let's see if you can see can you see my pedals clearly there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not now. You have your finger in front of the camera.
About that. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Right, so for single pedal, for getting like doubles, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yes. Okay, the first thing I'm going to suggest you do is get a copy of this book, Stick Control.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And you play it on your hands and feet at the same time, heels down.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Like this. And then doubles.
Okay.
Paradiddles. And then, you know, when you get to the sort of the more complicated sections like that kind of thing. So you're learning to rate switch.
Okay.
But you want to be able to do that all. Oh dear, my left foot rubbish today.
Okay.
So the first thing is to practice heels down as much as you can, right? Because even when you go to do stuff like this, I'm still using that movement.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
In terms of an actual technique to play doubles, I'll show you how I do it. So I'm going to move the hi-hat out of the way. So I use, I call it reverse molar or constant release. So I use this kind of pumping motion. Okay. It's a tap, and then I lift from the back and drop.
Oh, okay.
So have you heard of the molar technique?
Yes, I have.
It's that.
Okay.
I'm getting, but it's kind of backwards, like that.
Okay.
It's much harder to learn than it looks.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth it when you've got it, because playing sort of can you see that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's sometimes referred to as a slide, but it's not really a slide. So it's a tap and a drop.
Okay.
Tap and a drop. Okay?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Backwards, like that. So you can lead with your heel. So if I'm doing something like this, there, I kind of lead with the heel, so I can do it both ways. And once you've got it, you can pretty much keep that going ad infinitum.
Okay.
So let's just move this up. That's kind of a potted version of it, but the heels down stick control stuff will do more for you than anything else.
Okay. All right, great.
It's very, very slow.
Mm-hmm.
Expect it to take about 3 times as long as it does for your hands.
Okay.
And that's it. Yeah, I was going to say something else, but I can't remember what it is there. Yeah.
And playing heels down the stick control book is going to strengthen your calves. So,
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's
I'll pass that on.
That's what I'm working on at the moment. I work through the stick control hands and feet together.
Okay.
The other thing I was going to say was don't look on YouTube.
Oh, okay. For the technique?
Well, the problem with YouTube is that the technique I'm doing there isn't as important as learning the heel down motion.
Right. Okay.
Get fixated on a movement rather than the sound it's making, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Yeah, almost all the bass drum tutorials you'll see online are to do with playing fast.
Okay.
Like,
Right.
they're too fixated and you'll just be like, bloody hell, which one?
Right. Okay.
Heels down for a year and then, you know, look at some other things. So, you agree?
Well, thanks, everybody. I know you've got stuff to do.
Thank
Welcome.
you for being with us and for asking us questions, and just, yeah, everybody go check Janine out on Instagram.
Oh, thank you.
You.
I'm going to take a couple days off, though.
Cool.
Yeah, so maybe
I got permission.
Yes.
you can.
3 teachers allowed you to.
Yeah. Well, I hope you all stay well.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye now.
Bye.
So
Cool.
cool. So we're gonna do some technical stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Felipe, do you want to go first?
I can go first. Yeah. I want to pick up on the things Dorothea was talking about, rudiments, because when I started playing drums, when dinosaurs used to walk on Earth, it was kind of, people didn't know why, but they had to learn the rudiments, you know? It was like, you need to learn the rudiments. What's the rudiments? Have you learned the paradiddle? Are you doing the double stroke roll? Can you play a flam? What about the triple retamacue? You know, we didn't know why, but we were doing it. And I have people coming from the big schools in London who don't know the rudiments nowadays. Okay, and it's the same thing as somebody goes to university to be a professional saxophone player and doesn't know scales.
That happens nowadays.
Exactly, that's happening nowadays, because nowadays it's everybody, it's like everybody wants to be a producer, even though they don't know what it is, you know. And back in the day, producers were great musicians who were giving directions to the other musicians in the studio, right? But for example, I have a 17-year-old student that his dream is to become a producer. I said, cool. Have you ever played in a band? Have you ever written a song? Oh, no, but I want to be a producer. And so the thing is, I'm not gonna, you know, really go into any specific exercise, but I'm gonna go, let me rephrase that. I'm not gonna talk about specific rudiments, because we should learn to play all of them, and we should know at least 7 or 8 by heart, you know. But I would say pay attention to the position of your hands. There are people who play like that. There are people who play here. So when you're practicing the rudiments, go slow and always aim for the center of the pad. I'm going to use an example, the paradiddle, because it involves a lot of different strokes. For example, the paradiddle. Paradiddle is not just right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Is the accent. And if you get the motion right, you have to start with your hands like this, either the full free stroke or half or lower, but you have to start with a hand higher. And it's basically down, up, tap, tap, down, up, tap, tap. Once you get that motion, speed is the easiest bit, you know, because you start this at 40 beats per minute. Next time you do 60, then you go until the moment you're playing, but the motion is exactly the same.
Yeah.
You know, and people, the other thing with the double stroke rolls, people think that they're doing this is double stroke. It's not. And one great thing about accents and rebounds, it puts an accent on the second stroke. So if you have to have an accent on the second stroke, you're going to have much clearer double strokes, you know. But go through the rudiments. Take a time to go learn one at a time. Learn how to play on the pad. Learn how to apply it on the drum kit. It's going to make you a much better drummer. That's it.
Very nice.
When you were, yeah, just quick, I just wanted to ask Felipe a question very quickly about that. When you're talking about accents and rebounds, you're referring to the book?
Yeah, the book Accents and Rebounds. Yeah, sorry.
I don't have a copy of that. I should get one.
I have one here I can send to you if you want.
Oh, please, yeah.
I actually have more than one.
No, just the one. Thanks. So I wanted to talk about this book, Syncopation.
Okay.
And particularly in the version I've got, page 38.
Yeah, the modern version is page 38.
Yeah, exercise 1, just the first bar. Now I've played this page inside out, upside down, backwards and forwards.
I'm going to get my book. Carry on.
Okay, until I was blue in the face. And I wanted just to play the paradiddle interpretation of that bar and explain why that book's so useful. Bring my hi-hat back in. And it kind of goes back to the question I was talking about earlier about singing what you're playing. So the phrase in that first bar is da 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 da. And so you can apply like a code to the note. So every time I see a quarter note, I play a paradiddle. And every time I see an eighth note, I play right, left, or left, right. So the note kind of signifies where there's an accent. So you end up with this. So within that bar, once a student sort of got to a certain amount of a certain reading level, I like to get them onto these kind of interpretations because I'm playing 2 double paradiddles and a paradiddle, but you don't think about it when you're doing it like that. It very quickly gets you away from thinking right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right. The other thing with this bar is that the sticking switch is at the end. So I start with, I'm left-handed, so I'll play it right-handed. And the second bar has to start with the left hand. So you automatically balancing everything out all the time, and you've got to do all the things that Felipe was talking about, get the motions in. I mean, this is kind of maybe the next bit on from doing paradiddles on the pad. And in terms of kit application, this is where you can introduce hi-hats and then bass drum on the accents. And you can orchestrate around the toms. And then if you want to be really clever, you can put the hi-hat on the upbeat.
Fancy.
Which is horrible.
And going a little bit back to the book Accents and Rebounds is all the exercises in the first half of the book, they have a set pattern in the beginning with the accents. So it creates a melody.
Yes.
And then there's different stickings. So if you sing or you stick to the melody, you don't care if you're playing single strokes, double, paradiddle, or any other combination.
Yeah.
Because that melody, for example, I think is the second page. The melody goes.
Okay.
You know, if you stick to the melody, everything else is it's a lot easier to play, just like you were saying.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you're right, Felipe, in what you're saying about it's really important to learn these rudiments, because then once you put it on a kit, then you've got just a different voice. It's just going to sound completely different than trying to do it with, say, you know, singles or whatever. It opens up so much, so then you can do what Mark's saying, and it's not about right, left, right. You just know what a paradiddle is, so you can just play it.
Yeah, the thing what happened years ago is nobody ever explained to me why we need to learn the rudiments. And after that, when I went to MI, I did this book here.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a really big book. It has like 240 pages. And Joe Porcaro, he takes every rudiment, not every, but a bunch of rudiments. And the book applies in many different situations as fills, as part of the groove in rock, jazz, Latin, in many different styles, right?
Yeah.
And usually, and because people, if you come from the marching band tradition like Dorothea was talking about, that basically all you do is rudiments. But if you're a drummer and you spend, why am I playing this here on this pad day in and day out? And I literally had a student that one day she arrived for the lesson. She threw a piece of paper on my face. And what do I do with this? And she had printed the list of 40 rudiments from PAS.
Right.
I said, well, first you don't throw it in your teacher's face. And then so I started to realize that, because the thing is, sorry if I'm extending myself, but
No, go for it.
when I say that I started playing drums when dinosaurs walked the earth, it's not because I think I'm old. I am, but it's not because of that. It's because you have to understand that mid '80s in my hometown, going to the U.S. or going to Mars was the same thing. Nobody would ever go to the U.S. It's like it was another planet, right? We didn't have any access to anything. You know, once a week you would see one video clip in on a TV program in Brazil, and good luck to be a rock one. Usually, it was usually Madonna, you know. So I didn't know why to learn the rudiments. The teacher didn't know why to teach me, because probably his teacher before you need to learn this. And basically it was single stroke, double stroke, and paradiddle, and that was it. You know. So when I arrived at MI, I thought, I know nothing because I come from the middle of the jungle. But then when I started teaching more seriously, because before going to MI I already started teaching, but when I started teaching more seriously, I realized that I wasn't the only one who didn't know anything. You know, there were people who had like the list of 40 rudiments, but what do I do with it? And so I highly recommend this. It's old school. It's better now. It's old school because there's no CD, there's no video, there's nothing, but it's really good. It's really, really, really good. It's still up for sale.
Cool.
Cool. That's it.
I'm going to, thank you guys. I've just got a little warm up. Nothing special. So I'm doing it with doubles. And you can also do it with paradiddles, incidentally. But I don't want to ruin it since the camera's on. You know, had a bit of coffee. So yeah. So here's the idea. You're going to do doubles as 8s, triplets, 16s, quintuplets, back to 16s, back to triplets, back to 8s. Okay, wish me luck. In fact, you're welcome to join in if you want to.
Oh, no, don't worry about it, especially with quintuplets. My question is,
yeah.
Okay, twos and threes, it's okay because it turned out to be 6. But how does it happen the double stroke with the quintuplets?
Do you mean like how do I
How the sticking, because you know if 6 you got, and then you're in the next you're in the next beat, but quintuplets it's right left right, or right left right left right, and then on the next beat.
Oh, so I just play doubles the whole time. I probably didn't explain it properly. I play doubles, but I'm phrasing it as quintuplets.
Okay,
so
cool.
I don't change my sticking.
All right, so it's doubles throughout.
Yeah, so hopefully I'll try it and not muck it up. I'm shaking now. Coffee.
Yeah, blame the coffee.
So I don't know if you can hear that. Click. Can you hear it?
Yep.
Cool. So 8. So obviously triplets.
Nice.
And 16s. Triplets. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I didn't think I was going to do this, but why not? And then I thought, what about if you do inverted doubles? Because when you're at the kit, I always think inverted doubles sound better. Like if you're doing like a fill, I don't know, batch, a jam. Oh, I don't know. I just think it sounds kind of cool.
Mhm.
So I thought, why don't we do the same? So, well, try it. Okay. Ooh, tough. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice. The triplets and the quintuplets with a reverse double, it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but I don't know. It was just a little idea because sometimes I'm stumped for like to do occasionally, or I want to warm up. So then I thought, oh, I'll try that, and then just doing the inverted way, it's just inspired me to just try it on the kit and just try some fill ideas and really I'd like to do, you know, sextuplets next and all of that, and then just be able to move freely between them and come up with some cool fills or something. I don't know.
I'd be really interested to hear the quintuplets as a fill. I bet that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So you got to do that next time, yeah?
Part two.
Tomorrow?
We're meeting again on Monday, so she can do that on Monday.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go.
I'm not doing it on Monday.
You should demonstrate it one time now. I bet it will sound amazing.
I will actually. I need to perfect it myself. I don't want to like that. Actually, rehearsals is for cowards, as Dom said. Bring it on.
Great.
Yeah, look at that. It's 5:45.
Yeah, we've timed it perfectly.
Let's give ourselves a big round of applause because, yeah, we've made it.
We made it. Good one, guys.
Okay. So
Thanks.
Excellent.
we'll see you on Monday, I guess.
Yeah.
See you Monday, 5 p.m., talking to Penny.
Who's going to be there?
Penny Larson.
Can't wait.
Cool.
Sure.
See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.